of course, it was an interesting side note by, I don't remember the gentleman's name in the Oklahoma legislation that John is referencing here in the live chat, that he was looking to pass a bill in which a certain small section, extremely small section of highway, and when I use the term highway based on what I read, we're talking about like a dirt road that leads outside the state, would be renamed Lincoln Riley Highway or something like that.
Yeah, I think probably that's a little much. I mean, at this point, I think two there's two people in this Lincoln Riley camp right now. There's the person that really wants, okay, let's move on from this. It's part of the past, but I think there's still a segment of people that are really really hurt, and I think it's come out this week what I had heard, and what a lot of people had thought was these conversations were happening early on in the season. I think there's a few articles that have basically confirmed that there was conversations between Lincoln Riley's representation and USC as early as September. So I think a lot of people think, Mark, many of the thoughts that we had going into the season, that Oklahoma had a really what was maybe was their best team on paper that they've had in quite some time. So I think the fan base has a feeling that Riley almost didn't give this year a chance with that. You've got to think that if his representation is having discussions with USC in September or even October, whenever it happened, he's got at least maybe not necessarily a foot out the door, but he's at least dabbling. He's at least unhappy. So it's got to you have to assume it's affect the coaching staff or his coaching or just the player, just everything going on. So I think there's a little bit of but yeah, I think most people are ready to just kind of move on from that. Okay, it is what it is. It wasn't what Oklahoma fans had hoped, for this season. But I think Oklahoma is going to be it seems like they're going to be in a better position. Maybe not immediately, but they'll be in a better position to where they were previously. The thing that we've talked about over and over here, Mark, is how Oklahoma hasn't been what they need to be on the defensive side of the ball. So you go get arguably the best defensive coordinator in all of college football to come. If that doesn't fix it, or if it doesn't get you to a respectable spot, then I'm not sure what will. So I think a lot of people, there's a renewed excitement. I think there's a renewed enthusiasm within the Oklahoma athletics department. I think whatever's happened here, whether it be last minute with Riley, or whether it be something that had been orchestrated through a few months, whatever has happened, I think it's rallied the university together, and I think it's brought them forward in a place where they thought there's some things that maybe they weren't recognizing that they needed to do to be competitive. Not only in the Big 12 for either this last year or however many years, but going into the SEC as well. So I think it's going to be I think both schools, USC and Oklahoma, probably will end up being in a better position than what they were previously.
Yeah, I don't think it's a black and white or right or wrong, all or nothing proposition regarding the evaluation on the way Lincoln Riley apparently conducted himself during the football season, because sure, most of us, if not, most of us could in some way relate to considering another job while you're still at your current job. And because of the amount of money and because of the level of responsibility that's involved, that's a pretty long process, or could be, if you're in the situation Lincoln Riley is. On the other hand, to the negative aspect, because he's responsible for a lot of people and a lot of careers and a lot of jobs at what was his current position at Oklahoma, I think we can all again relate to wanting to be professionals, giving that attempt and being focused on our current job. But if we are thinking we're going to move on, then there's a certain part of us that is, of course, checking out of certain conversations or just thoughts about the future of that organization because we don't anticipate being involved, even though no one knows it. So,
yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think it's just natural, right? I mean, if if whether it be at this area or any occupation that you're in or any walk of life, if you've got another opportunity, you're not going to be as invested. I know the cliche thing is having one foot out the door, but yeah, I mean, I think that's, that's very real, whether it be, and to your point, Mark, whether it be September, whether it happened, a couple of weeks before the Oklahoma's last game against Oklahoma State. It was, yeah, it is what it is. And just, I think the best thing is to move on and look to 2022 for both sides.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's similar to these bowl games, and it's similar to a lot of games that we could conjecture about whether players are giving their best. I think there's a difference between a player can have the attitude that, hey, I want to do my best for my teammates. I'm here. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to do my assignment. I'm going to practice every day. And they go out there and give it a reasonable effort. They try, they want to try, but there's a difference between that, and especially in a game like football that has the intensity, or should, that it needs to play at this level. There's a difference between that and having a team that's just relentless, is on a mission, is purposeful, is just locked in, and just will run through a wall to win a game, versus just realizing and recognizing and wanting to be accountable and saying, I'm going to do my assignment. I'm going to try hard. I'm going to run hard. I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to get through this. Completely different results can ensue from that.